This line's like heaps far off that. Don't know how that happened. Why the lines moved?
Cut the clip.
Cut the clip. Cut the clip. Cut the clip. Cut it. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. On this one, we're going to be doing part 2 of the RB25 assembly, I guess you would call it. The forged RB25 as well. The parts have been supplied by Kudos Motorsports. If you guys are looking at doing something similar, make sure you hit them up. We've got Nolland Industry merchandise on the link below, so check that out as well. I appreciate all you guys that have bought merchandise in the last couple of weeks. All that money is going to be going towards the R32 build, so it's all going to be reinvested. So if you want to help fund the project for the R32, then yeah, go ahead, hit up the freaking link in the freaking description below and get yourself some sick shirts. Will be some more designs coming soon, but let's get right into it.
Tell me, is it whack up in the air? Rapping scattered off the gear. I can map him, get it, yeah. It's like a tracker, get distracted, send him back like in the mail. Not a fraction of them real. Catch him like and run the drill. Running through the shit like a motherfucking dage.
At the moment, the RB25 is sitting here with the air intake on, or the cold side, hot side, all on. Most of it's hooked up. Got the cool braided line going on. So now, it's pretty much just the timing to do, and then the rocker covers as well. Coil packs, spark plugs, the sump as well, waiting on the sump. So there's still a few things to do here, but today we're going to focus on the timing. I've never done timing before, but I'm going to learn, which is a bit sketchy because if you get the timing wrong, you can stuff your whole engine. So I'll probably get someone that knows what they're doing to check over this, but you guys will let me know in the comments if I do anything wrong, because that's what you're good for, and I do appreciate the tips. So first off, with the timing, you've got marks on this is on the RB25 anyway. Some cars are different, but this is the RB25. It's a belt setup, not a chain setup like the SR20 and other engines. You've got a couple of white marks on here. There's a little dot on there and white mark on there from factory, and these little indents here line up with your cams. So if you get those two marks right, it'll turn your cams around to a position where it's top dead center. So that's where you want to be when you're starting off with doing any timing or any checking like that sort of thing. Next, I have to figure out the right way to put this sprocket on here. It's a cam sprocket. There's probably a bunch of names for it. I just slid it on there at the moment. Got to figure out if this shield goes on or if that shield goes on first. I'll be doing that next, and then the harmonic balancer, slide straight on there, bolt through the middle, torque him up to some stupid torque setting. I've never put one on, but I always seem to have to take them off, and they're usually bloody tight. And then on here, we've got the tensioner and the pulley wheel, or the belt wheel, the bearing, I should say, that bolts through there. Got some nice new ones here, and they're going to go in there. And then to top it off, we have the belt. So I went with just an OEM Nissan RB25 belt because I did have the Gates timing belt on this engine before in the 180, and it was really noisy. Like it just makes a lot of noise. I don't know if it was because it was rubbing on the actual back plate cover, or if it was too tight, but it was making a shitload of noise. So I'm going with the OEM because I've heard that you can get stupid horsepower out of these and it's not really an issue. But when you do start cracking like the 700 horsepower, you're gonna get like belt slap. So it's gonna like, yeah, it's gonna be an issue, because if you skip a tooth on here, your engine's gonna be not running too happy. Also, with the RB25 and probably a bunch of different engines, you can do a little trick. So there's a cover that goes over all this jazz here to tidy it up. And the bottom section here, I'll just show you. So this is the top half that goes over the top. Need to clean that up, it's pretty disgusting. But this bottom section here, what you can actually do is a really cool trick that I seen after I'd done this the first time. So yeah, you can cut a hole big enough in here so that you can access the tensioner and get an Allen key on there and like either make it more tension or less tension, which is really cool. So if you don't have that little mod, you're gonna really take a lot of time to do the tensioning. So I might do that before I put the cover on. I'll just cut a hole into that, and you don't really see it because it's pretty low on the engine. So that's basically what we're doing today. I'm gonna try and figure out all this. It takes like so much time doing this shit when you don't have like a manual with all the torque specs in front of you. Every time I go to get the torque specs, I have to Google it, spend like 2 minutes like trying to find it, and that just adds up, and it's just taken forever. So yeah, and plus I pulled the engine down like a long time ago, so I'm pretty vague on remembering how it goes back together. So I've been like Google imaging like timing cars with the timing belt on, so I can see what it looks like and then just match it. So, but yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend doing this if you've never done it before, like me, because yeah, you could go pretty wrong. But we're gonna be sweet, mate. We've got Xavier here, he knows what he's doing. He's an RB guru. So if anyone has any RB questions, make sure you ask him. He'll help you out. So I'll leave you with him, and let's get on to the RB25 build. And like always, if you like this video, hit the like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I've just been having a bit of a Google on the way this goes, and it looks like I've got it right here. I hope I do. But basically from the imprint that was on this plate, it looks like it goes around this way, and then this plate goes on this way with like the little folded edge facing back out towards the front of the engine, facing forwards I should say. There's also like a little half moon that pops out of here that's like terrifying because I feel like I'm gonna lose it. It's stuck in there. Oh, that can stay there. And that's like pretty hectic, so I'm trying not to lose that, but that is a key so that this can fit on there in the right spot. So that's what's next. It's pretty tight fit, so I'm going to put a little bit of grease on there. Hopefully it slides on, otherwise I'm going to have to get the rubber mallet out. And me and hammers usually results in me breaking shit, so I should probably not get the hammer, but I might have to result with the hammer. Let's see what happens. Hopefully this bolt going in will pull it with the washer, and it will pull it all the way in. But it looks like it's most of the way. Also a handy tip, before you put your bolt in, go find the socket. Take your bolt to the socket set and find the socket that fits on there, so that you're not going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So hopefully this is what you're supposed to do, and hopefully I'm not wrecking this. Oh, just make sure this can fit past it first, actually. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I stitched myself up. I've got to put the pulley, the tensioner, and the bearing on first, because otherwise it doesn't fit on there. So silly me. Gotta do that first. I'll take this back off. Well, I just got back down here after a big long day, and yeah, I found out that this one had a washer that I almost lost. The washer was hidden behind the old one. That is now torqued down, that's done. This one here, I'm missing 2 washers. There's meant to be like some special spinny washer, and then a washer, and then a nut. So I'm missing 2 washers. There's a little kit you can buy. I'm pretty sure you can get it from Kudos. I'm going to hit them up about a little kit that you can buy. Comes with this bolt, that bolt, and this little stud in here. I'm not sure if the stud's meant to have a nut on the end here, but I found this nut in the bag, and I'm thinking it is, because the spring goes on there. It'd be good if I had a torch in there so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But it's annoying because this is going to hold me up from doing anything else on the front here. So that's got to go on, and then the harmonic balancer, and then I can put the time belt on. So yeah, I'm going to have to order that part. I don't even know if it was on there. Surely it was on there before, but now the hold up. Yeah boy, I'll see you guys in a few days. Guys, big brain. I figured out that I have another engine sitting there. It doesn't have the right nut and bolt, but I have another engine over here that actually came with the R32. It's an RB25 that's completely blown, and it's like pretty much worthless. Well, it's worth something to someone, but it's definitely like a good coffee table one day. But it still has the tensioner on here, and it has the nut and the washer, which is right there. So I'm going to take that off and yeah, borrow that one. And I also looked at the dowel down in there, this one over here, and there's no nut on there, so I'm going to take that off, which is awesome. And I could have come and had a look at this for a couple other helpful tips, so I'm going to do that from now on. But yeah, this one has like major head damage. If I flip this over, you could probably reuse the head. Needs like proper conditioning, like reservice, and the block has a couple of holes in it, but good for parts. I have pulled a few things off it, but it's just sitting under there doing nothing, taking up a little bit of space. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm just gonna do the little modification on the lower timing belt cover to allow you to be able to adjust the tension of the belt while the cover's on, because the cover is a mission to get off. You have to take the, I'm pretty sure you have to take the balancer off, and then the cover just to get to this to adjust it. So what I've done, I've had that on the car and I've slid it off and had it hard against there, sat it over and then drew around it with a pencil. So now I have a circle there. So now I just find the center of that, put a dot and get a hole saw and just munch straight through that, tidy up the edge, and then we'll be able to adjust it. There'll be a hole just here. Yeah, so I've never done this before. I've just seen it online like yonks ago, thought it was a cool idea, and I knew that when we did my timing belt it was a bit too tight, so it would have been good to be able to loosen it, but we'll like stuff it, just send it, mate. So yeah, let's drill a hole. Yeah, so I'm pretty much just gonna send it. Like, what could really go wrong? I'm only drilling into like a JDM part that's not worth anything anymore. Lol. About there, I reckon. Nice. I haven't used these hole saws in so long. It's always nice to use a tool that you bought for one thing ages ago and never freaking used again. Let's see how it went, eh? Turned out bloody perfect. Nice circular hole at the almost exact right size. What I also have is one of these tools. It's like a deburrer, it's called. And you can go around, ideally not ripping your hand apart because it's a pretty sharp blade on there. But you can go around and you can cut the edge and get it nice. It's good for circular holes. Also get a file in there, clean that up a bit, and yeah, bit of paint, mate. She's a ripper. Looks like it's meant to be there. Woohoo! That worked out freaking way better than I thought it was going to work out. So now you can whack your Allen key in there. There he is. You whack your Allen key in there, and you can turn it and tighten your bolt. You can adjust your tension. That's sick, man. That's freaking cool. As if it didn't come like that from factory. So much more convenient. You shouldn't have to tighten it or adjust it, but it's cool. It's freaking cool. So another thing off the list. Now I just need to suss out this freaking washer, figure out what I'm gonna do, and then put the belt on. Okay, so I just went to put the timing belt on. First time I've done timing before. Did watch a YouTube video because I don't know what I'm doing, mate. I'm trying to learn this on my own here. I've got these two marks lined up, so that's always pretty good, pretty close. But this bottom mark here, which is that dot right there, is supposed to line up with this mark here, which is over this side. and that dot's over there. So I was like, oh, well, you just turn the crank around. But I'm too scared to do that. I'm pretty sure we've made a mistake here, where when we put the cams in, we thought it was top dead center, because we thought that piston there, number 1, was all the way at the top. But looking at it now, this one here, the second one, is slightly higher, and that one's slightly lower. So I'm gonna say that it's not top dead center, and what I need to do is probably take the cams back out again, spin the crank around so that that dot is facing like down here. It might be that mark. Yeah, it's probably gonna be that mark there. So if I spin the crank around to that mark and then just check to make sure that this piston is all the way up, then we should be right. Put the cams back in, tighten them down, and then hopefully nothing's bent. It didn't seem like anything was broken or whatever, and these turn like a little bit, so by hand you can turn them easier than that with 2 hands. But I think that's what the go is. Hopefully I'm right, because I actually don't know. So I'm going to take the cams back out now, because that way it'll be safe to turn the crank. But with the cams in there, it's going to affect the cams. I meant to say cams, because that will turn the pistons around and push up and push against the valves. So if the cams aren't in there and it pushes against the valves, it can freely move and it won't restrict it, and it'll be okay. So I'm gonna have to take the cams out, which is shit, but let's do that now. So we've gone back a heap of steps. I've taken the cams off. Freaking pain in the ass. Took the cam gears off as well. I don't know if you have to do that, but the backing plate kind of stops you from getting it out evenly. I unbolted it all and the gears were still on there, and I was like, oh shit. And it was holding it down, and it was like all the tension was like this, and I was like, Jesus, that's not good. Anyway, it's off now. Hopefully they're not stuffed. Surely they'll be alright. And then I chucked the harmonic balancer bolt in here, and I just turned the engine by hand with the big ass socket like this, and I turned it by hand clockwise. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to do it clockwise. Didn't even Google it, but I think it's clockwise. It spun around nice and easily, and now this dot here is lined up with this mark on here, which it should be right, because that's where the timing belt line was, which was right there. So now, if we look down in here, the piston on the first one is right at the top. Before it looked like it was at the top, but it wasn't quite at the top. So I think now we're right to put the cams in. So rookie mistake, but man, I'm learning a lot of shit. Plus I got to do the cams like 3 times now, so that's always good to do things over and over, but obviously I'd rather just do it once. Anyway, let's get it all back together again, and then we can do the timing belt. We've got Mr. Xavier here.
I know not what I'm doing.
He's an RB guru. So we just got the belt on. It's quite difficult. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's good to have a friend here just to hold your Allen key. You could get like a zip tie or something and tie it on there, eh? But it's tight. It's a tight fit. So a couple little tips: you can move the belt all the way to the edge to give you a little bit extra. And then I was trying to get it onto this part, the last part, like the last stretch to get it over the cog, but that wasn't working, so I ended up putting it on here and then just nipped it around that corner onto this pulley. And idler.
Fucking work, mate.
That's it, she's on. So now we'll just slide that all the way on, and our lines are marked up. I've never been so excited to see a white line line up with a dot in my life. PG rated.
Always.
Yeah, always. So we're gonna get this belt on. So excited. Holy shit. Look at it. Looks like an actual engine.
Yeah, it's mad exciting.
Yeah.
This thing's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, we were just talking about like having like no blow off valve this time, because for some reason I used to run blow off valves, and Xavier's like, you're not doing that. So
I'm making this cooler bike and I'm not putting a fucking provision in there for a blow valve.
yeah. See, I'm not even allowed to have one. Okay, let's get it done.
No idea.
So the belt is on, and now we turn the engine.
Alive.
Everything is all moving together and being all friends. No obstructions and no stickers.
That's good.
It's quite good.
It's got all of that compression with no spark plugs in it.
Yeah. That's right, that's what you want. It's just cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Everything's still lined up.
Well, I'm not gonna get back. I'm still going. Oh, these, mate. It's a long way. A bit further than what you're used to.
Yeah, because the SR is not a 4-stroke motor.
This line's like heaps far off that. Don't know how that happened. Why the lines moved?
Cut the clip.
Cut the clip. Cut the clip. Cut the clip. Cut it. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.